Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well. Today I'm going to talk about the famous Law Officer case in which the judgment has been pronounced very recently by the Honorable Supreme Court. The judgment was penned by Honorable Mr. Justice Khanwilkar, and it is a beautifully written judgment on the nuances of compulsory retirement and if that can be covered under the protection of Article 311 of the Indian Constitution. Before we move further, let's talk about the brief facts of the case. The appellant joined Research and Analysis Wing in the year 1988. In the year 2007, she was transferred and posted as a director, and her posting was in Delhi and Gurgaon. This is where she came across two senior officers who she has alleged undertook sexual harassment against her, as a result of which she had filed a complaint before the concerned authority. It took some 3 months for them to constitute the complaint committee, and the major important issue that one would see is that as per the Vishakha guideline, you are required to have one member who is from a third person who comes from an NGO background and who has some kind of an experience as far as sexual harassment cases are concerned. So since the third person, or this independent third person, was missing, the committee was again reconstituted, and after the reconstitution of the committee, the appellant was asked to join the investigation there. So when the committee was reconstituted, the appellant refused to join the inquiry which was happening, and she refused to join on two grounds. One, she said that the departmental inquiry committee was required to be reconstituted as per the Vishakha guidelines, and secondly, she said that the committee had no mandate to proceed against the accused, because the chairperson of the committee was himself not senior enough to ensure allegations of the nature that had been leveled to inquire into such allegations. So she refused to join the inquiry. The ex parte report of the departmental committee came across because the appellant refused to participate in the inquiry, and one of the charged officers was acquitted because there was nothing which was made out against him. As a result of which, we see that the appellant was then forced to take a very extreme step of trying to commit suicide before the Prime Minister's office, as a result of which her name and her designation was widely publicized across different media channels, maybe could be the newspapers. Everywhere her name was ousted, as well as the designation. Although this then definitely ensured that a second departmental committee was formed, and this committee was asked to look into whether or not the Vishakha guidelines were followed by the first committee, and also the fact that whether or not the sexual harassment charges which were levied were true. The report of this committee also then talks about that these allegations were not proven as far as sexual harassment was concerned. However, with respect to Vishakha guideline, they were clear that a lot of them were not followed. So in the light of the media attention which was bestowed so much on the appellant, the department then went ahead and declared that the appellant was an exposed officer as a result of her name and designation coming out in the media, and therefore, in exercising Rule 135 of the service rules, which basically manages the entire raw officers, they put her into a compulsory retirement and decided to give her the benefits pertaining to it from the date that she attained superannuation. The appellant then moved against this order of compulsory retirement to the Central Administrative Tribunal, where the Central Administrative Tribunal quashed the order of compulsory retirement and asked for her to be reinstated back to her position with all the adherent benefits. Then the union, of course, went in appeal before the Delhi High Court, which reversed the judgment. However, noted that the pension benefits which were to be given from the date of notional promotion in terms of notional superannuation, and not from the date of the actual superannuation which was there. The entire matter then, along with other criminal writ petitions, came to the Supreme Court. The matter was filed last year, and the arguments took place. There were extensive arguments that happened on behalf of both the sides. And one of the primary submissions of the appellant was that Rule 135 was completely in defiance to the protection which is provided by Article 311, along with when it is read with Article 14, for the simple reason that when you have a compulsory retirement which has been brought about, the inquiry has to take place, and that it cannot, if it is considered to be as a punishment, therefore the entire procedure or the principle of natural justice as envisaged under Article 14 should be followed. One of the appellant's submission was that there was non-publication of Rule 135 of the 1975 service rules which were there, as a result of which it is not that the appellant was aware of the fact that compulsory retirement could be given in the event that one of the officers is exposed. The High Court had gone in negative and said that Rule 135 was provided under the 1975 rules, and these rules were made available in each and every office of the organization, and therefore it was available to the officer, and that to an officer of Class 1 post, to have the access to the rules and to read it. So therefore the Supreme Court also then upheld the same view and said that, relying upon the submissions made by the Council of the Union, it appears that the rules were available. As a matter of fact, the appellant had also not talked about it or pleaded it anywhere in her petition before the Central Administrative Tribunal. The second important part, and which is what we wanted to discuss today more, is the challenge that she had made to the constitutionality of Rule 135 of the 1975 rules. And interestingly, the entire debate and the observations as given by Justice Khanwilkar are very sound in terms of the analysis that we see of Rule 135. Rule 135 is compulsory retirement which has to be given when an officer of the organization, and as we all know, the organization happens to be a secret organization or it requires secret service steps to be taken. Therefore, if one of their own officer is exposed, then it befalls upon the entire organization, and it brings about security concerns and exposes them to a large anti-national bodies, as a result of which she was declared exposed and she was given a compulsory retirement. Compulsory retirement of an employee is derived from doctrine of pleasure, and the power which comes to Rule 135 of the 1975 rules is from Article 310 of the Indian Constitution. As a matter of fact, when we look at Rule 135, we see that it derives its power both from Article 309 read with Article 310. And Rule 135 very specifically lays that if one of the officers is injured, is unable to perform the tasks which are at hand because of physical injury, or has been exposed, then the said officer will have to be compulsorily retired as per the power which is exercised under Rule 135. Therefore, it is more of rule of necessity which then the organization exercises, and it is only to ensure that there is a safeguard measure which is exercised by the organization, ensuring the important fundamental aspect of law and how their officers are required to be secret agents and cannot be exposed, thereby bringing about the exposure of the entire organization and the system at work. What is also a very interesting observation that was given by Apex Court, as a matter of fact, it was a direction where the court says that Rule 135 does not stigmatize an officer. It is not a punishment which is given. Rule 135 does not have any civil consequences as such. The officer who retires will then also have their post-retiral benefits which will follow. The officer will have all the gratuity benefits which come in, and the officer is compulsorily retired but without any penal action being taken against that person. One of the other arguments which were placed before the Honorable Supreme Court was as to whether Rule 135 can then apply on the deputationist or not. Now, a deputationist is a person who comes on deputation to a specific department from his or her parent department. As far as a deputationist is concerned, a deputationist is governed by the rules which are there in his or her parent department, unless of course he is absorbed by the department in which he has come upon deputation. And therefore a deputationist will always be governed by the rules of the parent department. As a matter of fact, if there is any such incident which would have happened, then the CCS rules or the rules of the deputationist's parent department would have applied, and the officer would not have then been compulsorily retired but would have been sent back to his or her parent department. Another argument that was put forward by the appellant was the non-prescription of inquiry as far as Rule 135 was concerned, where it was observed that the outgoing officer was not given a chance to participate into the inquiry, even though there is nothing which stops for an inquiry to be conducted as far as Rule 135 is concerned. However, in order to ensure and also to safeguard the larger public interest because of the officer coming from such an organization, it was important that the rigidities of the principle of natural justice was not adopted as far as inquiry was concerned. The other important argument that was made was with respect to security and exposure. Now, the nature of the work as far as RAW is concerned is such that if you are exposed, then it is an occupational hazard which comes with it, as a result of which you cannot put the entire security concerns of the organization at stake. Also, another very important argument that the appellant took place was with respect to Rule 135 to be struck down with respect to vagueness which was there as far as Rule 135 was concerned. The argument was that the rule obviously was mala fide, and because there was so much vagueness in the rule as per the appellant, therefore it should be struck down, because any vague rule will then only bring about a lot of confusion and would then give more power to the people who are going to exercise and implement such vague rules. Could be officers, police officers, could be the people who are in that authority to ensure that such rules were implemented. The Honorable Supreme Court, however, went into the understanding that any officer who's working for an esteemed organization such as RAW would understand the transnational repercussions that could fall as a result of such an officer being exposed, and therefore the compulsory retirement or Rule 135 is such a rule which ensures that the threat is threat of exposure not just of officers but also of the organization is diminished as much, and therefore there was no such vagueness if one would look at it as far as Rule 135 was concerned or the wording of Rule 135. So this becomes a very interesting case, and although there are other aspects of this case which were also important, for a simple reason that the Honorable Apex Court provided 1 lakh rupee compensation to the appellant because of all the mental trauma that she had to suffer as a result of injustice being done to her. The Honorable Supreme Court also upheld the order of the Delhi High Court, where they said that the pension benefits would actually come from 2011-12 onwards, when the notional superannuation had happened, and not from 2008. Also, the house, the government house in which she has been living, she has been asked to vacate it only now, and that no penal rent was to be charged from her. Very interesting case, very interesting observations which have come in this judgment. As a matter of fact, anybody who enjoys service jurisprudence or practices it would really appreciate the enhanced logic that has been used in this matter, and I really hope you would like it, and I hope you like my video as well. Do drop in your messages if you have any comments. Like my video and subscribe to my channel. Take care and have a nice day.